You know, this made Trump mad when he was told that he has to make his campaign schedule work with the court dates because he's been trying to get out of court ever since he's been getting charged. This is just truly funny how pathetic of a dude he is.
In Washington, a date has been set for former President Donald Trump's federal case related to his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election results.
During a court hearing yesterday, U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan announced that the trial will begin March 4th of next year, one day before Super Tuesday.
Yeah, CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane is in Washington following the latest for us. Now, you know, I did read the prosecution wanted to start in January. The defense wanted to do April of 2026.
Oh, yeah. They want to put it way off.
They were very, very far apart on these start dates. Why did the judge choose March 4th? Can you walk us through what happened?
The judge made clear that 7 months, that moment between arraignment and this projected trial date, is sufficient. It's adequate for the defense to get ready. She had made the argument that prosecutors had made while speaking in court, that the public has a right to a speedy trial too, not just the defendant, and that there is a time sensitivity to this case because of the scope and size of it, because of the nature of it, and because the judge said the defense has so many resources. This is not an indigent defendant. This is somebody who has a zealous and well-appointed defense team. He has the resources to go to trial soon. But put the trial date in March aside for a moment. Look at the other deadlines between now and then. This case is coming at us quickly. There are pre-trial motion deadlines in October and in December. Some of the arguments that the defense and prosecutors are going to make and some of the motions they must file have to be done so by early October. In December are deadlines for witness lists, proposed jury instructions, exhibit lists right there around the holidays in mid-December. And then in January, February, and March, the pretrial process accelerates all toward this March 4th trial date. A jury selection that would begin at 9:30 Eastern time that morning in the courthouse behind me. A prosecution that estimates 4 to 6 weeks to make their case, and then the defense, from a former U.S. president to a federal criminal charge.
So, Scott, but what about this timing right before Super Tuesday? I mean, he's not just the defendant. He's somebody running, again, to be the president. Would the judge be considering or factoring in the political implications, or is that just, like, not what her concern is?
Judge Tanya Chutkan made it explicit she is not going to consider the defendant's professional schedule, as she put it, or this campaign. She said in so many words,
I mean, that would be like somebody getting arrested or getting charged with something, having a court date, but then they tell the judge, "Oh, I gotta work on Monday. I can't go to court. Can you set the trial date 2 to 3 years from now?" Like, that would be ridiculous.
Trump is going to have to find the time to make this work in his schedule as any other criminal defendant would do. And she even made the analogy that if it was a famous sports star charged with a federal crime, she wouldn't let the season end before bringing that sports star in to be tried. She would do it at the proper time for the court and for the justice system.
Yeah, if you don't want going to court, like interrupt your life, don't commit crimes and you won't have to go to court.
Is making no exception for Donald Trump because of Super Tuesday and the more than a dozen states that are voting that day. But the political reality is quite different, isn't it? Every time Donald Trump walks into a courthouse, he seems to get this adrenaline boost to his campaign, to his fundraising, to his poll numbers. There may not be a political detriment to having a trial begin the day before Super Tuesday, but it is nonetheless unprecedented.
Yeah, he's still not gonna win just because he got, a large bit of the right-wing base, which is still smaller than the left-wing base, voting for him. It still doesn't mean he's going to become president.
I mean, that's for certain, but that's, I do think politically it could go either way, right? People could either be very turned off.
Though, honestly, we should make it illegal for people to run for president if they have federal charges pending against them.
Watching some of what's happened, or as you said, like we continue to watch as poll numbers go up, it gets people out to the polls on Super Tuesday.
It feeds into his narrative that there's a political motivation.
There's a witch hunt, and this is what's happening.
I mean, what? Can somebody just commit a bunch of crimes and then say that they're running for president, and because that, it's a political attack against them to be charged? No.
Happening. You know, just walk us through a little bit of that. I mean, I know we don't have a crystal ball. We can't, make a determination as to what exactly is going to happen. But from what you've seen on the ground and in talking to people, does his campaign feel that this is actually maybe a good date for him?
It's a great question. And by the way, if you find the crystal ball, let me know, because football season's coming, and that's really handy this time of year. There's a reality to this case that is distinctive, and it's going to be similar, I suppose, if the federal case in Florida goes to trial next year as well. There are no cameras allowed in this courthouse. This is not going to be televised. This is going to be something that Americans can't watch.
This Trump's trial about January 6th and stuff should be televised so that everybody knows what has happened, what he did, who helped him, and everything like that.
That might change the political impacts of it. That might change the optics of this for the former president. It may give him the capabilities to define for his own supporters what he says happened in the courtroom, because Americans can't watch it on their own. We'll be in there, we'll be reporting out what happens, but we'll be doing so without the benefit of a camera in the courtroom. That dynamic may not exist in Fulton County, where cameras are permitted. So even though this case might go first, it might be preeminent in the minds of many Americans because it speaks to the 2020 election and January 6th, it still might be invisible to Americans, which makes the politics somewhat difficult to predict, crystal ball or not.
Right, crystal ball, magic 8 ball,
By the way,
none of that.
As a